The greatest thing ever in Warhammer 40K was just teased in the most obvious way today. And it appears we have a match made in heaven on the way, because the maestro himself, Genndy Tartakovsky, may just be at the helm of a new Warhammer 40K animated project, and I for one could not be happier. The tease comes in the official announcement of Tartakovsky's newest series that will be launching soon, none other than Conan the Barbarian. Now, Conan is my favorite thing probably ever. I love sword and sorcery, low fantasy, sword and sandal, pulp fiction in general, the Cthulhu mythos, and all that. Some of my first memories were looking at the covers of my dad's Conan paperbacks, the Ace Publishing and Tor ones with the old Frank Frazetta covers. So of course when I see a video on the official Conan the Barbarian channel stating Genndy is doing a series and it shows the image of Conan's face, I'm going to watch it. And I'm glad I did. The producers of the series are talking about how awesome it was to get Tartakovsky on board and do the series. And the second of the two guys is sitting in an office with Conan art behind him, over his left shoulder. And over his right shoulder is a space marine. A very, very not subtle statement to make. It was still in black and white, basically a concept image, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. Out of all the images that could have been in the background, I find it very unlikely this one was randomly chosen. So if you don't know, Genndy Tartakovsky is a Russian-American animator responsible for some of the greatest cartoons of all time. Recently he did Primal, which was basically like a caveman and a dinosaur surviving together at the dawn of time. And from the first moment I saw the cartoon, I was thinking, this is the origin story of the God Emperor of mankind. But it is an absolutely amazing show and just recently wrapped up. The guy is a caveman, not a barbarian per se, but he did have a lot of, shall we say, Conan-like traits about him. Which makes a ton of sense, as we know one of the many aspects the Emperor employed in ancient times was indeed Conan the Barbarian, from some of the earliest Warhammer 40k lore rumors ever, back in the Rogue Trader days. Remember, everything since first edition ended in 1993 is a retcon. But this all makes perfect sense to me, as Tartakovsky's the right guy to take on a 40k project. Not only because he's great at depicting the brutal and the grimdark in animation, but because he totally nailed the feel and essence of Star Wars in the best possible way when he did his micro series on Cartoon Network that aired in 2003. It was absolutely legendary. Totally phenomenal. The man knows animation and has worked with the biggest possible franchises already and treated them with reverence. Star Wars peaked with Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, in my opinion, and I was quite shocked when they announced the Dave Filoni series. Though it certainly has its place, it didn't have that awesome, just totally engaging feel that the Genndy one had. Samurai Jack had many nods to Warhammer 40k in it, and was one of the best series that ever aired on Cartoon Network. It had Mako in it, the actor who played the sorcerer Akiro in the original Conan the Barbarian movie, as the voice of the main villain Aku. Talk about coming full circle. I cannot be more excited, as this is my favorite animator of pretty much all time, collaborating with my favorite setting in fiction. It truly is, as I said before, a match made in heaven. Now, what they might do is a complete mystery, and this was just the first rays of sunlight peeking over the horizon, but it is a new dawn. We can see the light for sure, and as more time goes on, we'll get a much better look at the picture. I've been worried about where Warhammer 40k is going now that it is fully committed to being a household name, something as mainstream as possible. Games Workshop have issued statements about how they want Warhammer mentioned in the same breath as Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica, etc. And to me, that means they could easily botch everything, sell out, and produce mediocre content. But it looks like they're putting their many billions of pounds to work in the best possible place, as nobody will be able to knock it out of the park like Genndy Tartakovsky. A fellow Russian-American, fellow Gen Xer, but still one of my personal heroes, as I always wanted to be an animator and just kind of suck at it. Anyway, check out this fan animation that is up on YouTube where someone made a clip in the style of Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, but they did space wolves fighting Tyranids. Now, it's not his work and it harkens back to an earlier feel of his, but it is a perfect example of just how badass this could be. So imagine that, but with his more current spear and fang style that he brought during Primal. Now there will be naysayers who will shout this down and say it is just a picture on the producer's wall. He must be a fan of 40K and it means nothing. But the Emperor himself told me this is a fallacy, the babbling of heretics who listen to what the warp whispers to them. In truth, by the time the Warhammer 40K series by the maestro Tartakovsky drops, he won't just be the legend who did Dexter's Laboratory, the Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, the Clone Wars micro series, and Primal. He'll also be the guy that has the promised to be totally brutal Conan the Barbarian cartoon under his belt as well. And at that point, it will be his moment to ascend, to step fully into the light of the God Emperor of mankind and achieve greatness. This is something we need. Look how absolutely savage, brutal, and gory Primal was. Conan promises to crank that to 11. But the grim darkness of the far future is a canvas upon which a million stories could be told and not even put a dent in telling all that goes on in the Imperium on a given day. It's one of the biggest sandboxes to play in all of fiction. This absolutely has me excited, and I cannot stress enough how this is the Emperor's will manifesting now, in the third millennia, to plant the seeds in our collective consciousness which will grow into our acceptance of him and his unification of mankind, inevitable and far off in the distant future as it is. Don't forget to crush the enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women. It is, after all, what is best in life.